You were never meant to survive this. You're not a soldier, not a trained agent, not someone prepared for war. You're just a man. Your name is Ethan Winters, and your story doesn't begin with monsters. It begins with love. Before everything went wrong, you had a normal life, a home, a future, someone you cared about. Her name was Mia. She was secretive, distant sometimes, but you trusted her because that's what people do. They trust the ones they love. Until one day, she disappeared. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Eventually, you were told the truth. She was dead. That should have been the end. But you didn't believe it because something felt wrong. And then, 3 years later, you got a message, a video, Mia, alive, asking you to come find her. One location, Dulvey, Louisiana. That's when your life ended, and something else began. The house was quiet when you arrived. Too quiet. The air felt wrong, like the place itself was watching you. You called her name, no answer. Just silence and something moving in the distance. You found her, locked in a room, broken, terrified. For a moment, everything felt real again. But that moment didn't last, because Mia wasn't the same. Her body moved unnaturally, her voice changed, and then she attacked you. Violence, sudden, brutal. You fought back. You had no choice. And when it was over, you were covered in blood. But it didn't end. It never ends. Because that's when they found you. The Baker family. They dragged you through the house, bound you, sat you at a table, and treated you like food. You watched them. Jack, calm, smiling. Marguerite, watching, silent. Lucas, laughing, unstable. They weren't human, but they were still aware. That was the worst part. They knew what they were doing, and they enjoyed it. You escaped, barely, and that's when the real nightmare began. The house wasn't just a house. Rotting, breathing. Jack hunted you, relentless, unstoppable. You killed him, and he came back again and again. Marguerite twisted into something else, a creature of insects and bone. Lucas turned the house into a game, traps, pain, madness, and through all of it, you kept going. Not because you were strong, because you had no choice. That's when you learned the truth. It wasn't the Bakers, it was something controlling them. A girl, Eveline, not human. A bioweapon, created to infect, to control, to spread. She wanted a family, and she made one. Out of them, out of you. Because by the time you understood, it was already too late. You were infected. The mold was inside you, changing you, slowly, silently. That's why you survived. That's why your body didn't break. That's why you kept getting back up. You weren't just human anymore. All you knew was that you had to end it. You confronted Eveline, a child, angry, broken. You saw what she really was. Not just a weapon, but that didn't matter, because she would destroy everything. So you stopped her, and the nightmare ended. Or at least, you thought it did. Time passed. You tried to live normally again. You and Mia, a new beginning, a new life. But you were being watched. Because people like you don't just walk away. The BSAA knew what you were, what you had become. Chris Redfield, he found you, but not the way you expected. One night, everything ended again. Gunfire, chaos, Mia dead, or at least that's what you saw. Chris took your daughter, Rose, and disappeared. That's when you broke. It was about your child. You followed him into a place that shouldn't exist, a village. Frozen in time, controlled by something ancient, something powerful. You entered it alone, and the world closed behind you. The people there weren't normal, creatures, monsters, but worse, they were organized. You were being watched again, tested. The village was only the beginning. It was controlled by 4, and to reach your daughter, you had to break all of them. Dimitrescu, the castle stood above everything. Inside, you were prey. Alcina Dimitrescu didn't rush. She hunted, slow, confident. Her daughters were worse. Every corner, a trap. You ran at first. Then you learned. Cold stopped them, one by one. That's when Dimitrescu lost control. Her body twisted, expanded. She became something monstrous. Claws, wings, rage. You should have died there. But you didn't. You climbed, you fought, you kept shooting until she fell from the sky and didn't get back up. Beneviento House was silent. No enemies, no sound. That was the lie. Inside, you lost everything. Your weapons, your control, your sense of what was real. Donna Beneviento didn't fight your body. She broke your mind. And then you saw it. A thing that shouldn't exist. A giant infant crawling towards you. Breathing, hungry. You couldn't fight it, so you ran, hid, listened to it getting closer. Until you understood. This wasn't real. She was. You found her, small, fragile, and when you ended it, everything stopped. You heard him crying before you saw him. Moreau. The reservoir was dying, rotting water, poison in the air. He transformed in front of you, collapsed into something massive. Flesh, teeth, acid. The ground itself turned against you. You moved, jumped, fought to stay alive, waiting for him to expose himself. And when he did, you didn't hesitate. He screamed like he understood, and then he was gone. The last Heisenberg remains. The factory never stopped moving. Metal screamed. Machines breathed. Carl Heisenberg wasn't broken. He was angry. He offered you a deal. Help him kill Miranda. For a second, you considered it. Then you remembered why you were here, your daughter, so you refused. That's when the war began. The entire factory attacked you. Metal walls, steel soldiers. And then he changed. Something huge. Mechanical, alive. You had nothing left, only one thing. You kept going, through fire, through steel, until he fell and everything went silent. 4 lords dead, and now only Miranda remained. Just like before, you fought through it, through the castle, through things that shouldn't exist. And slowly, you began to understand. This wasn't random, this was connected to something bigger, something older. And at the center of it all was her, Mother Miranda, studying you, using you, because your daughter was the key. Rose wasn't just a child. She was something more, something powerful, something dangerous. And you were the only thing standing between her and the world. You kept going, even when your body broke, even when your hands were torn apart, even when you should have died. Because now you understood the truth. You had already died back in that house. You just didn't know it. The mold kept you alive, changed you. But you were still a father, and that was enough. The final confrontation came. You faced Miranda, not as a man, but as something broken, something held together by will alone. She transformed, something monstrous, something powerful, and you fought her with everything you had left. Because this time, there was no escaping, only ending it. You won. But victory has a cost. Your body was failing, breaking apart. The mold was collapsing. You didn't have much time left. But you had one thing, Rose. You carried her through the fire, through the destruction, toward the end. And when the moment came, you made a choice. You stayed behind because someone had to finish it. Someone had to make sure it ended. You detonated the charge, and everything went silent. Your name is Ethan Winters. You were never a hero. You were never chosen. You were just a man who refused to stop. And in a world full of monsters, that's what made you the strongest one of all.